It's Massalorian, my good friend Tony Denaro. How's everyone tonight? Tony, say hey.
Howdy, y'all. Sorry for making Massalorian late. Had to get my horse in the stable. Yeehaw! I'm just kidding. We were just chit-chatting.
Yes, we got a little carried away. Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a nice holiday. Tony, how was your holiday? Good?
It was good. We relaxed. Scarlett had one day off yesterday, and she had to go back to work today. So we had a little bit of food, a little bit of pecan pie or pecan pie, depending on what part of the country you're from. And then we had our APE's giving. I don't know if I told you about that. The Central Texas Investors barbecue lunch today with folks from Central Texas and around the area. That was fun. That was today.
Nice.
So I'm still recovering from that. A boatload of barbecue. Let's put it that way.
That sounds fantastic. Let's
got to meet some new people, and yes, they do know you too, Massalorian. I asked them.
Yes, let's talk. Keep it for now. Do we name later?
Yeah, well, let's say hi to some folks, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, sure. Let's say some people in chat. Jersey Recycler was number one tonight, first person, but of course, no live stream yet. Late. Sorry, guys. Sorry. That's my fault. Did everyone have leftovers today? Proud man. Yes. Good evening, Savvy, G Immortal, EX Dave. Good evening. How you doing tonight, Captain Brian, Angelina, ATF, Grandpa Barney. How are you tonight? Broke Ape. Proud. Pick up a couple.
Yep, MC, thank you, brother. Angelina, good evening to you. Captain Billy, Proud Ma, Yuka Frita, Slick Rick, Walt, Broke Ape, PDX Dave, I see you. In Cashman, Jersey Recycler, I saw Mass already said hello to you. Yeah, Massalorian, you are having some freezing, but let's hope that resolves itself here. It was fine when we were pre-show, guys. He had no freezing and no mic issues, but I hear it too.
You got it right now. Mic issues and freezing.
I think it's just some stuttering of your video because I'm not watching your video feed, but the whole thing is kind of like I hear the audio just locking up. They can tell you in the chat if your video's freezing up too. I'm not watching your video feed.
Okay.
All right, guys. So you had, this is almost a 4-day weekend. We had 4 or 5 hours of trading today until 1 o'clock. Did it feel like a vacation day, or was everybody still glued watching the lines, watching your charts? Hopefully some of you guys got to peel away today. Massalorian, what do you have on your list tonight that you want to talk about? I already know the questions I'm going to get. I kind of put them on my thumbnail. I can predict with a high degree of certainty what questions I'm going to get, but I'm mostly, other than if I get asked questions, I'll talk about them. I don't have a lot of things that I want to preach to anybody tonight, but I'm happy to talk about whatever folks like.
Well, first of all, I have third-degree burns right now from my tanning booth. Everyone does that. It literally looks like what I'm looking at right now, it just looks like a tanning booth. I'm not kidding. If I step and then I take a step back, it looks like I'm in a tanning booth. I'm about to fry to death. Looks nuts. Oh my god.
Speaking of
saying,
good. Speaking of third-degree burns, since we didn't cook a turkey yesterday, I know, shame. Normally, we cook one every year, but yesterday we did not. So I entertained Scarlett by putting up a bunch of YouTube videos of people dropping a turkey into the hot oil fryer. Have you ever seen those videos where they drop it in too fast and it erupts in a bunch of flame?
Yes, I have.
You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
The water spills. Yep, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was our living vicariously of cooking turkey yesterday. And when you mentioned the 3rd-degree burns, I watched the guy in a video. He walked. It was outside. He walked over, grabbed the oven mitts. He's like, "Get rid of these. This is a fire risk. You know, if it boils over, these could catch fire." I'm like, already, this is not going well. And then he
No.
dropped that thing in, and it went whoosh all up in his face and on his bare
Oof.
hands. She's like, "Did you get burnt?"
Oh.
He's like, "Yeah, pretty bad."
Oh, that's rough.
I
Oof,
saw
that
other
must be.
people
Oof.
setting up their turkey fryer. They had no shoes, no socks. Like, what the hell are these people thinking? I don't know what state they lived in, but good
Crazy.
Lord, crazy.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah, protect your
I have
feet at
never
least a
done
little
that.
bit, right?
I've never tried frying a turkey, but
Right.
I do want to try it.
Okay. Chat, what is audio besides the tanning booth? Is audio any better and is video any better? I'm just curious if anything got fixed. I hope so. Hopefully it hasn't in a while now. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If we missed you guys in the chat, I'm going to say, hey, people, do Frank, Annie T, good evening, Savvy, Ukrainian, Slick Rick, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, G Immortal, Can It Be, Disney buys AMC. How you doing, tonight, man? Andrew Franchise, Frankie Muhammad, what's up, brother?
Frankie, hey man, I've been loving your videos recently, Frankie. I appreciate
absolutely,
that
son.
You constantly keep it positive, Frankie. 2 thumbs up.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%, Frankie. And everything is positivity, and don't let you get anything down. I love it, man. Keep it up. Yep. Absolutely 100%. Yep. For sure. For sure.
Someone,
Yeah, your
I guess
point, Tony.
Did I say that they drop the turkey in water? Yes. Sorry, I meant the peanut oil. If I said water, forgive me. It's oil that they're dropping it in.
Okay. Okay. People are saying it's a lot better now. They're better. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys too. Thank you. Microphone's still having issues. Damn it. Mike is choppy. You could free to. What do you mean? Who is Frankie Muhammad? Come on, man. Been like that for some time now. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's been saying that. It's weird. So we keep Mike is choppy, but when I'm recording my videos, like the one I put up last night, I have no issues going through OBS Studio recording. So it's got to have something to do with my stream, right? Because you're not hearing any choppiness in the uploads.
Yeah, must be your stream. I have a warning right now that my stream is running slow. So
okay. Smooth operator. Good evening. Good evening. First question. We'll pop this. Pull this up. Well,
let's get some questions.
A couple things tonight, right? Yeah.
Do we want to talk about short squeeze plays or Disney and AMC first? Which is the most pressing question?
We got a lot to talk about. Do you think it was interesting that well, what's your feelings on FTX? We talked about that.
I've been, since I have not been live streaming for the past few weeks, I've been watching everything, guys. FTX, all the news, all of these short squeeze plays, digging into all the due diligence on all these. And as I can, I drop little tweets out on Twitter or occasionally post stuff in the community tab on my YouTube page. But, there are a lot of people speculating about FTX, and I'm doing a bit of speculating myself. But I mostly want to wait and see what this investigation brings out, the bankruptcy process. It's kind of curious that they're withholding a lot of details about who their creditors were, who they owe these billions of dollars to.
What's going on?
The most speculation that I'll do is I definitely, it sure looks to me like there were a lot of people propping this guy up because he was, I think, whispering what they wanted to hear in their ears. Oh yeah, I'll donate money to your leftist cause or your right cause or your, green energy program. He was just telling anybody and everybody what they wanted to hear, greasing the skids with money to get them to ignore him and leave him alone.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Yeah, and he got and you know, I don't know if you happen to catch it, but I guess Mark was on a smaller. There's a channel called GTII, I believe was the name of it. Mark Cahodes went on and he was talking about. I don't know if you happen to see the clip, but they actually played on Tucker Carlson the other night, so it's got a couple million views on it. And he was saying a month ago, you know, that this is rotten to its core, and there's
Absolutely.
no, yeah. So say what you want about Mark Cahodes, but and I remember even a few months ago, looking back, watching his interview now with Bloomberg, and even before that, he got on some of the smaller channels, and you know what bothers me the most, and I hate to do this because we're going to talk about other creators. The fact that a lot of these other big financial YouTubers really pump this guy up, that bothers me. And they got paid a lot of money to do it, and you know. For some people, I do. I really feel bad for. I know a lot of us are out here and we're making. We're adults, and we need to follow and all. But you know, sometimes that amount is not worth it, and I see the greed, and it blows my mind that finding a young, successful person like that. I mean, you know, they don't to do that. You're success. You can be successful without that. It's not. You
Well, let
don't
me
need that
ask
in
you a
your game,
question,
you know?
Mass. Let me ask you a question for a smaller channel like you or
Sure.
me. First of all, they're not going to come to us because we just don't have enough views. But you know as well as I do, you and I don't really make much money doing this other than paying our bills, right? Paying for keeping the streams going.
That's
But
about it.
if Sam Friedman came to you and said, Massalorian, I like your channel, brother. I'll pay you $5,000 a month as long as you bring me X number of views, that would be a substantial amount to you or me, right? I'm just making up a number.
Yes.
I don't know what these, would you do that? Would you do that?
I understand where I understand I understand where the challenge is. I understand some. You know, I'm not in a position where I'd be back corner, but I could see that happening. I absolutely could.
Yeah.
I absolutely
You
could.
know,
I thought about it a lot today.
if someone that I thought was legitimate, I get emails all the time from these moo and, you know, random crypto shit that I just automatically delete. But if it was someone that was semi-legitimate like FTX, I obviously would do my due diligence. I was not involved with FTX at all, so I don't really even know that much about them till they blew up. But if I saw all the people that were backing this and I did a reasonable amount of due diligence and they offered enough money, as long as you disclose that you're, you know, that they're a paid sponsor, I don't really know what the problem would be.
Yeah. No. I'm not. Look, I'm not saying, but I've heard there's a lot of rumors flying around right now that me, Kevin, knew that this was built on a house of cards, and that they knew a lot of these guys knew that this was, you know, just an advertisement, and it is what it is, I guess. You know, that's the world of capitalism. Well,
All
I don't know.
those
Sometimes tactics to me.
Kevin and Graham and what's his name? Andrew, the card player dude.
Yep. Yeah.
They all have the same agent. You know, their marketing PR company. So it's no surprise to me that they all got a deal and that they were all pushing it, because they're the person who does all their deals for their advertisers that manages all of them.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
There's about 10 of them in that little cabal.
Interesting. Good to know that. All right. Let's. I'm gonna put a COSM question up. So let's talk about COSM real quick. I know we didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much before. I know we talked about the run it had. What's your thoughts on COSM? What are you looking at right now as of Friday? The market closed. 2 days off. What do you think is gonna happen Monday?
So COSM for me is the most difficult to call. If I had to guess what is going to happen next on COSM, most difficult to call because it's still so cheap, right? And I just want you guys to know whatever tickers we talk about tonight. I know some of you are in them, some of you have high hopes for them. I'm not in long, short options, nothing. Any of these tickers that we're going to be talking about tonight, these short squeeze plays. So I'm just looking at them all.
Touché.
I'm looking at them impassioned. Is that a word? Without any bias.
Without any bias.
Without bias.
Impartially.
Yes, thank you. But what I have been doing is fact checking everybody's due diligence, like I tend to do. Right? You might have known that I like to do that. And the biggest issue that I see with COSM, and again, also setting the stage, whatever I say about due diligence does not matter one fucking bit if retail decides to ignore everything and buy, right? I'm just going to share with you guys what I know. I'm not telling you to avoid it, to buy it, to sell it, but I want you to have the correct information so that you can analyze the play the right way if you're in it or thinking about getting in it. The biggest deal with COSM is that there's this guy, IGER or whatever his name, Ivor from S3 that keeps on putting out these tweets saying that the short interest is 700% on this stock. And I tweeted out the short interest on the stock. It was the last official report, around 7 million shares. And I asked him, the gentleman from S3, how are you getting 700%? Because we agree on the number of short shares. He agrees with me on that. He said, well, the float is 980,000 shares. And Massalorian, I've scoured the internet.
Can't find
and looked at a dozen different sources, including the company's filings, every paid and unpaid resource I have. I cannot find any of them other than the one he mentioned, which I'm not going to do the paywall for it. Every other source says that the float of COSM is far higher than 980,000. So what I'm just going to tell you on COSM is I do not believe for 1 second that the float is 700%. But that being said, it is irrelevant if people jump in and buy it. And you know that they will because it's cheap, right?
Won't matter.
But if you're expecting the mother of all short squeezes because of 700% short interest, I say, please, I beg of you, do your own due diligence. Ask the gentleman yourself. It's already in his tweets. I already asked him. Go find the tweets, and then do your own digging.
I'm just going to read Grandpa Barney paired a super chat. Thank you, Grandpa Barney, keeping the lights on. He says, question, didn't Mark want to tokenize AMC, and would that have been really a bad thing, guys? Thoughts? I think he's talking about Mark Cahodas because we brought Mark up earlier.
He did want to tokenize it. And I don't know. I mean, at the time, much like DRS, I took a neutral position on Mark Cahodas. Everybody was getting all this emotional fighting. You're either for Adam Aron and you're for Mark Cahodas. I'm for whatever gets us over the finish line. So I don't have anything against Mark. I don't have anything against Adam. Now, obviously, Mark, his messaging has changed a little bit since that time a year ago, right? He's become a little more anti-AMC and anti-Adam Aron. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if a tokenized stock similar to what COSM GTII is trying to do will reveal a bunch of shorts. Maybe it will. I wouldn't mind trying to figure that out. I wouldn't mind. But Adam Aron said no, they're not going to do it. So once he said that, I just kind of stopped caring about it.
Yep. Yeah, same here. I lost interest, right? Alan Kamesky says FOMO is real. Yeah, 100%. Right? FOMO is real. We can get things to pump, and they dump just as fast. I would say right now, and again, let me specify before I say anything. As well as Tony, I don't have a position right now in GTII or COSM, but in my opinion, COSM would be the one of the two that still has room to go a little. Percentage wise, I would say COSM is your better bet. If you're looking at something for Monday morning,
it's got a lower float than GTII, right? I mean, if I look at what Webull says or any other source, forget the 980,000. If you look at any other legitimate source, it has a lower float, but there is a dilution that was recently announced. You can go back and read the filings. There is dilution coming. And with all of these plays, this is something I want to make a video on. I've been teasing about people don't understand warrants. Massalorian, you and I talked about this on the phone earlier. And maybe this is a good time. Maybe this is a good time to talk about warrants. If there are warrants coming on COSM, that is going to be more dilution. It's going to be more dilution. So whatever you think the short interest is, whether they have a shelf offering of more shares or they have warrants that are getting exercised, those get converted into shares. And that is going to be more dilution, and it's going to water down the short interest. And if you were holding warrants for a month or a year in some stock, and finally, because of some retail pump, all of a sudden you got to your strike price on your warrant and you could sell it, and you knew that the only reason it had run up 300% or 800% was because retail jumped in it, what are you going to do after you exercise your warrant and get the stock? Probably going to sell that stock. So I think I need to go back and look at the timeline, but I think that's what happened on GTII. There were all these warrants that hit, people exercised them, and then all the warrant holders sold and started pushing the price back down. Everybody's scratching their head. Why is the price falling? Well, you just diluted the fuck out of it. And those people have no interest, I don't think, in holding at that price. They know the history of the stock, and they're just happy to sell on your back. That might sound harsh, but I don't know why people are celebrating warrants. It's good for the company. Some warrants, depending on how they're set up, the company gets a little money, but it's horrible in most cases for the retail shareholders. I would ask anybody to give me a good argument why you think warrants are good for retail. If you understand that they're dilution, and that more than likely the warrant holder who's been underwater for a long time, they paid for those warrants or they were granted them a long time ago, they're probably going to sell their shares. A warrant is just it's a form of a stock option, except when you exercise it, they give you shares. And if you're way ahead, if that stock ran up, let's just say the warrant strike price was 50 cents and the stock was sitting at $4, and now you've got shares when you execute your warrant that are priced at 50 cents and you're sitting at $4, you're probably going to, if you're an institution, take that $3.50 profit and sell your shares immediately. But I see it on videos. I see it on Twitter. People tap dancing, celebrating, lighting fireworks, just ecstatic that warrants are coming. The warrants are coming. The warrants are coming. We're saved. No, you are fucked. And I'm not picking on COSM. I'm not picking on GTII. This is something I've been tracking on these pump and dump plays for a year or more, many of them. And this is the video I want to make. I want to get a list for you guys of all these plays that these people have been pumping. Guess what almost all of them have in common, Massalorian? Underwater warrants. Almost all of these plays have had warrants that have been underwater for a long time. And I could definitely see some big institution shorting a stock to artificially make the short interest high, create a dog whistle for retail to get it on your radar, let you guys run it up, and then they step out of their shorts as you start running it up. Then they execute their warrants, pocket a boatload of profit, and then start reestablishing shorts after you've run it up, and they make money twice. I'm laying out a possible scenario. Why all these pump and dump plays do they run up to the warrant strike price and then start falling? And why do all of them have warrants? It's just things that make you go,
The strategy is beautiful, right? It works every time. It works
the very first thing I've been doing on all these plays for the last year is check the SEC filings and see if there's warrants. And almost all of them have had them.
Yeah.
And almost all of them got in the money. Yeah. And then they sold off.
Yep. Any update on the audio? Any better?
Sounds okay right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know that any YouTuber is colluding with an institution to make this happen. But if I was an institution, I'd run up the short interest. And like I said, it's kind of like it's a dog whistle for retail. Oh my gosh, this thing had 300% short interest. Oh, we got them over the barrel, and all they're doing is setting a trap for you guys. So all that being said, every single one of these plays you could have made money on, right? All of them have been fantastic 100%. Plays. What I want you to think about, where I'm coming from, is you need to learn to get in them early and get out early and stop listening to these people saying that it's going to $100. Going from 60 cents to $9 is a hell of a good trade. You don't need to hold it for $100. If you see it went up to 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it starts turning around and going the other way, you got to have the discipline to punch that sell button and not look back. And I don't care who's making videos for 4 weeks. Did you know GTII Massalorian has, I don't think they've ever turned in any revenue. These people are holding a zero revenue company thinking it's going to $100 or $1,000.
Triple digits I've been hearing for over a month and a half now.
And I know the haters are going to say, well, you like AMC, you like GameStop, you like Highcroft. They're losing money, right? Okay. But they're bringing in billions of dollars of income. And we understand the reason why they were hurt in 2020, and we're playing them at this point as a recovery play. Like GTII has no income. You got to recognize that there is zero fundamentals. Never was on GTII. That was just a momentum play. That's it.
That's it. Yep. That's it. All right. So I got a little carried away there because I was trying to fix the mic, but people are saying it sounds a lot better. So that's good. That's important. The audio needs to be good. I mean, damn it. If there's one thing, if you're a broadcaster, you need to be able to hear what the hell you're saying. So I sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. I hope it's worked out now. Back to the COSM GTI thing, and as far as the float and how many shares are out there, and the thing, and I think you said this right before I cut to go try and fix the audio. Were you talking about major distractions out there with pump and dumps, just that they're all over the place right now?
I don't call them distractions. I call them money-making opportunities. There's nothing for me as a distraction. You won't hear that on my channel.
Okay.
You guys know that I play momentum plays also. I'm not shitting on any of these plays. They've all been fine money-making opportunities. What I'm going to be focusing on is analyzing the due diligence, analyzing what I call the pumpers are telling you to see if it's truthful. And then you adjust your sell target to the level of truthfulness and what is being said out there.
So I'll say real quick, Lupe. Yes. I just want to say real quick, Lupe, thank you for keeping the lights on. What is up? Happy Thanksgiving, my brother. Back to you, man. for a second year. I know Lupe, I think we said Thanksgiving to each other last year, so it's on my mean you. I thought about doing that, but I think I'm gonna leave it for tomorrow's video. I'm gonna, because with the whole Thanksgiving thing, I wanted to say all the people over the last 2 years who have been a big help to my channel. Just really, maybe it'll make a little appreciation video. So hopefully that'll be done by tomorrow. Hoping for one of ours. Let me see. Jennifer says, I lost more in AMC than anything. Yet touche, Jennifer. From where? Yes, I know, honey. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah, got crushed hard. That's all right though.
Grandpa
it's
Barney.
Still early. Yeah.
Grandpa Barney just put up a super chat challenge for you and me. Thank you, Grandpa.
Thank you, Grandpa
Seriously.
Barney. Appreciate you, man.
I don't have Grandpa. A coin on me, Massalorian. You got a coin?
Like a quarter?
He says flip a coin and give it to the poorest of you two. I don't know who's the poorest, but I'll flip a coin with you.
Sure. I don't have a coin.
Or
if
we
you
can
have
do
a
it
coin,
after.
I trust you.
If you don't have a coin, I don't have one. We can do it after. I'll go grab one.
Sure, we'll do. Sure. No problem. No problem.
MC,
thank you so much, Grandpa. Appreciate you. You know that.
So let's crush through a couple of these other ones. Let's crush through a couple of these other ones. GTII, I said about 3 or 4 weeks ago that I didn't see it going over $8 or $9 again.
Yeah, and we've been saying that for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of shit. Obviously, I don't care if it goes. I hope it would have gone over $8 or $9, but I'm just looking at the chart. The candles and the volume on the chart was telling me that it is headed down. But I said in the Discord earlier tonight, the unknown for GTII, there was a chance for it to bounce around $2, bounce back up. And that's still there. I mean, GTII is right around that point. So there could be a bounce into next week, or the crypto listing, whenever that happens, is another chance for it. But no one has a schedule on that, right? I heard even Lou was getting frustrated that they haven't released any dates on that. So
yeah, and something changed from an NFT, from a coin to an NFT now. I don't know. Or maybe
they're going to. It's a dual listing. They'll have a listing on Upstream, which they, in their press release, they said it's to improve the liquidity. I don't know. I didn't see anything that said they were doing a cash raise. And I know that if you're holding shares, you can register them and they'll automatically give you the crypto. But that's kind of an unknown, because this is not a common thing. So I'm not going to say GTII is over, but I can read the chart, and it needs the next catalyst, really, at this point.
And Grandpa Barney just doubled us to each of us. Tony, a coin. Thank you, Grandpa.
Bless you. Bless you.
Very, very generous. Very generous. Somebody in the comments says Mass needs a new mic, so he must be the poorest. Give it to him. Whoever said that, thank you. Thank you so much. I will put you in the intro of the next video. I'll find that comment. I wish I knew. I wish I could figure out wrong with it right now. Honestly, guys, it is the biggest headache for me. I've been trying everything. I see it right here. It was Ken. Ken said it. Said I'm saying Mass. Jesse, have a good evening.
Let's smash MMTLP real quick. That I don't mean smash them in a bad way. Let's get that topic out of the way, because that one's that's been a great play, right? MMTLP, the preferred share of MMAT, and we finally have a date. The date of record, I think, is December 12th. There's been Marcel was going on a Twitter storm last week saying, don't buy MMTLP, it's going to be delisted. And everybody was jumping on his case saying, it's not being delisted, boss, it's just going private. And I'm like, it's the same thing. Like,
I
don't
mean,
get your
what is the
feelings
difference
hurt.
at the end of the day?
Do not
What
get
we're
your
calling it,
feelings
right?
hurt. Guess what? Twitter was delisted. Delisted just means it's being removed from trading on the exchange. It's not a negative. There's voluntary
Mhm.
delisting if a company goes private. There's forced
Yep.
delisting if you don't meet criteria. It's just because you're using the word delisting or going private, they're interchangeable. I don't think anyone is trying to use a pejorative by saying delisted. We're just letting you know it's not going to be
Right.
tradable. It's not going to be tradable.
Correct.
But someone was asking me in the Discord last week, and I've been very careful not to make videos about this because I don't want to be seen as like trying to sway anybody. But when MMTLP was sitting at 12 and change last week, they were asking me, Tony, I really want to keep holding it. What do you think I should do? And I said, I can't give you any specific advice. But looking at the run up, this beautiful, beautiful run up on MMTLP, and knowing knowing is maybe not the right word, believing what I believe about the due diligence on MMTLP, I said I would, if I was holding it at 12, set a stop loss at 11 and then let it ride till Wednesday and Friday. And what happened right after I said that, it dropped, $9 and change. So I hope they followed that suggestion. I don't know. I didn't get a follow-up if they did, but my gut call in that moment was correct.
Yep. By the way, Jennifer, thank you for the super sticker, hon. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. All these donations from you guys really help.
That's kind of how I play a lot of these momentum trades. Like I figure out how much of in the profit I am and how much of a loss I'm willing to take. If I'm up from $1 to $12, I don't mind if I lose $1. I don't want to set a stop loss too tight. If I got in at $1 and it ran to 12, set your stop loss at 11 and don't lose any sleep over it.
There you go. Yep. Protect yourself, right?
Yeah. So I've talked about this many, many times in the past month about MMTLP. It is, the theory is that there's 80 million hidden shorts that got carried over from Torchlight and the Torchlight Meta merger. And I've looked at the short interest on MMTLP, and I don't see that in the data that I can see. So you got to make your own judgment. Do you believe the people that are telling you that there's 80 million that they can't provide any evidence of? I know when I go back and look at videos a year ago, those same people were saying there was going to be a short squeeze due to the merger, and Torchlight did not have a short squeeze then. So they've been carrying that ball, and this is their second chance to tell you the same thing. I would say, their accountability is a little bit in question in my book because they got it so wrong a year ago. And I would have reasonable price targets. And if you're way up in the money, you have a lot more freedom to do what you want. If you got in at $1 or pennies, you have room. It's holding around the $10 mark really well. So I wouldn't rush to do anything with MMTLP, but I don't know that I'm bought in 100% that it's going to $100.
Yep.
And what due diligence did I do besides that? I talked to a well-known short seller, and I called the trading desk at Fidelity. The short seller told me for institutions, no, they do not have to close their shorts. Fidelity said also, he said when Twitter went private, he got 0 phone calls from people requesting to close their shorts.
Interesting.
I said, well, then what happens? Like if I was short MMTLP, what happens? He's like, well, at some point, right before it goes private or right after, we're going to close out your position. But like, now we have a date of December 12th. Did we see massive shorts moving to close? I didn't today. I don't know. Maybe there will be, but I'm just going to come at it as I always do with a little more cautious approach And I don't have any way to back up what these other guys are telling you, that there's 80 million shorts. The data I can see does not agree with that. But
Absolutely not.
if they're right, of course it could moon. Of course,
It would be nice.
that you're on your own there to pick whose due diligence you believe.
Or you can dig into it and look it up for yourself and base it off what your due diligence tells you, what you are able to dig up. And don't even rely on anyone else's due diligence. Yuka Frita, thank you, my friend, for the new mic. Appreciate you, man. I hope I don't have to buy a new mic, guys. This thing's old. That would be really bad if I had to buy a new mic. And if I didn't already, Jennifer, thank you again to Jennifer. Cancel Bubble says on the paired here, and someone said I'll be able to I'll be able to afford one after MOAS. Yeah, man. Just we need the MOAS, damn it. Cancel Bubble says, Mash, you should try a PC restart before your next live. That's a great idea, Cancel Bubble, because I'm usually running my computers for 48 hours before I come on a live stream. I should absolutely 100% do that. Thank you for that advice. Appreciate that. I will try
William
that next
Morgan
time.
says, William says, where's the evidence of AMC and GME's billions of short synthetics? William, I've said the same thing. That's the reason I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
That's not a theme on this channel.
Check Al from Boston.
Yeah, you can go to the other channels and get your fill of billions of synthetics. Now, I'm not going to say that they don't potentially exist. We know of many ways that they can create synthetic shares, just like I don't know. I can't tell you with certainty what exists in MMTLP. And you're probably in a pretty good spot. If you got in early and it's at $10, you got room to be wrong. If you got in at $9, you need to really be paying close attention. But it is really, really tough, guys, for anybody to tell you with certainty, because none of us can prove it on any of these stocks, that there are hidden synthetic positions. That data does not exist. So I've been listening to it for 2 years on other channels, and it has not done much for AMC and GME. So I'm a little bit more skeptical than normal on these other plays when people use the exact same argument.
Yep, 100%.
My thesis for a run up on these stocks is based on things that I know make it run up. A catalyst, unrelenting buying pressure, high short interest that we can see, and a loaded options chain.
Right.
That's some of the main contributors that cause GameStop to run up.
VW says, Tony, what do you think about GTI getting to $10? Do you think that's possible? I hate to ask that to you, but VW put it up in a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we're both good.
Who knows what would happen when and if the upstream dividend gets released next week. People are going to be excited about that. Every time there's an announcement, people in these highly emotional plays, people pile in. It could have another run. And I have said that I didn't think that it would go over $8 or $9 again, but that you could get a bounce around 2, like from 2 to 4 or 5. So we'll see. We'll see what it does next week. I'm just giving you my opinions, my thoughts. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just trying to balance some of the other unrelenting bullish information with my usual more cautionary stance of how I would be looking at it if I was trading it.
I know Clark was in the chat earlier. Clark was asking about APE. Clark, I don't remember what you asked specifically about APE, about if we think APE will run or what. I'm not worried about either one of those stocks, APE or AMC. I think they're going to both be just fine. We just need a little bit of patience. And I hate saying that because we sound like a broken record, right? With the patience bullshit.
Before we talk about Mullen, let's talk about why you think it's okay to be patient with APE and AMC. What's coming up, and what press releases and stuff have happened in the last week? Let's just do a quick recap.
I mean, everything from Amazon to Disney to Apple to you name it. Everyone and their mother seems to be involved with some kind of talk with AMC. Now, Where all this talk is coming from, I don't know. How much of it has to do with what's heading behind FTX, I don't know. I think the big changes up top at Disney, that signals something to me. I think that the terrible numbers that the $2 billion project from Amazon, the Lord of the Rings project, it was a complete failure. They couldn't even break the top 10 in its last episode. That's a problem for Amazon. So they need to start looking towards the box office because they are bleeding money right now. Last quarter, Disney lost $1.47 billion in streaming service. So they coming up with something. And an agenda aside, let's just put that aside right now. We saw great numbers come back from Black Wakanda, and I know that the reviews have been very split. Like, I get it. I know a lot of people didn't like so much. I mean, listen, it couldn't be the regular Black Panther 2, right? Chadwick Boseman is not with us anymore. So we weren't going to get that, right? So we knew this was going to be a different story. It was the closure of Marvel Phase 4, which now we put the kibosh on, thank God, finally forever. Hopefully this new realm, I'm wondering if this new era is going to start with IGER. Now, my only issue with that is a lot of these policies that were put into place while CHAPEK was the CEO over at Disney were started by IGER. He's almost just as bad. And I've, in just in the last 3 days, I have seen conflicting reports from both sides. People saying that CHAPEK was bucking the rest of Disney and saying that they wanted to slow down on the progressiveness. And I've also seen the same number of articles saying that he was the one that was pushing it, and the rest of the people on the board, the people who worry about the stock price, wanted IGER back in. So, I mean, I guess it depends on when you're getting your news from, really, on who you believe. But I think the situation is very interesting. Now, here's the problem. I don't think Disney's in any position right now to buy AMC. They have projects going on right now at the park. They have trouble filling some of the billion-dollar attractions they've already built. So for me, Amazon, something like Amazon makes more sense to me as a company where you could use the location for a million things. I mean, a million things. Just think about all those locations already having all those leased out properties, all that parking space. You just never know. That to me always makes more sense than Disney. Amazon is a global company that's always on the move with vehicles and people all over the place, whereas Disney is in 2 different cities in the United States, and that's it. And I just think the whole thing, if you go all the way down to the retail popcorn that AMC is going to be selling, if someday that turns into Amazon popcorn, it's going to be getting delivered by Amazon trucks, not by Disney trucks. So when I go down to the bare basics of this, Amazon was always the one that made more sense to me. Bezos was always the guy who was more into the entertainment and wanting to be part of that Hollywood crowd, part of that theater, the movies. Disney's already got that. Those guys are already they are the biggest producers in the world. This is Amazon. This is something they're actually talking about sinking $1 billion into next year. Whereas on the other hand, you have Disney saying we're bleeding money. So I hate to go against anyone out there. And listen, this is not against any specific YouTuber at all. I am not pointing shots or anything. We are all speculating here. And the people out there who are saying they believe that Disney is going to buy AMC, I'm sure they believe just as much in that conviction that I do. Don't take this as, gospel. This is just my opinion as much as anyone else's that this will happen. But to me, Amazon always made the more sense to me.
So just to clarify, what are you saying? You're saying Amazon might buy AMC?
If I think right now, 2 things. Disney's in no position to buy and take on a movie theater chain, a worldwide movie theater chain right now, especially with all the problems that they're having with China and in the Middle East, right? They're having problems just getting the movies out there. Never mind trying to run a movie theater company with actual physical locations. Dealing with those 2 countries alone, or 2 areas of the world alone. You know what I mean? He already has established relationships there. and so doesn't Amazon. Amazon's already in those countries, so you don't have to weave your way into the CCTP or anything like that. They've already got the inroads, right? So
the thing that worries me about the conversations, the speculation of anybody buying AMC, I just want to throw a scenario out there for you. You guys saw what happened with Twitter and many other companies that get bought out. The buyer suggests a price per share that they're willing to pay for the company, right? Am I right, Massalorian?
yep, absolutely. Yep.
Let's just say that they offer $20 a share for AMC or $25 for AMC plus APE. You're done. There's no short squeeze. The price is going to be whatever they say. And for that reason, I don't think they're going to offer $1,000 a share. I don't want to entertain the idea of anybody buying this company. In my world, fuck all that. Let it organically squeeze and let them organically improve their business is what I'm focusing on. You're not going to see somebody's buying AMC video for me and hear me all excited about that. I think as a stockholder who anticipates the potential for another run up based on this company getting a profitable quarter and the fact that they're not going bankrupt due to having APE in their back pocket, I don't want to be thinking about anybody buying this company and offering a share price offer lower than I'm willing to get out of my shares for.
Yeah. Yeah. After all the battling we've been doing, forget it, right? So T, do you mind if I talk about in the chat for a second just what we talked about the other day, or should I put it out as a poll question maybe?
What's the topic?
Just talking about what do people feel about about protesting the SEC? Should I put it out, or
let's talk about that in 1 second. I just want to close the loop on what you were talking about. The Amazon, making they've unofficially, we're hearing that they're going to be making $1 billion worth of theatrical releases, right? That's bullish for me for AMC and APE. We got Avatar coming out. I'm expecting a very good Q4 in a couple months when we get to that earnings. I'm expecting a lot of good headlines.
Good Q1.
Yes, both. I'm expecting a lot of good headlines. For that reason, today, I'm hoping that we're close to the bottom of the channel on AMC. I did buy some January calls on AMC. I have been buying only APE. And yes, I'm upset that I keep on seeing it going down, down, down. No, I do not have a good answer for you on why that keeps happening. I haven't looked at the short interest in a couple of days, but it's pretty damn low. So I unfortunately can't share a lot of insight other than I know that they want to suppress it because that is the get out of jail free card for paying off the debt. But I'm still buying APE shares. My most recent purchase a week or two ago was in the dollar high 127, 128, I forget. And were it to drop to $1, that will be my next buy-in. But God forbid, I hope we don't go that low. I think that before it gets to that point, we'll start getting the good news from Avatar and start bringing these stocks up. That's what I'm hoping for. That's why I bought the AMC calls for January 2023, $8 strikes.
TT, honestly, I think the FOMO for the movie Avatar is going to be out of control. I really do. I have a feeling it's going to be something on another wave like we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, I'm hoping so. But I think it's going to, I'm imagining it as Top Gun on steroids. Honestly, that's how I see it. Remember how we were kind of amazed at the Top Gun numbers, how it just continued weekend after weekend after weekend to pull in 20, 40, $50 million.
Yep.
That's kind of how I could see that going for 8 to 10 weeks. Now, remember, we only have 2 weeks in Q4 of revenue for Avatar, adding to what the 2 already blockbusters we had this month. So, if we're talking about an 8 to 10 week run where this movie, and remember, every week it stays long in the theater, the more money goes to the theater, less to the production company, right? And every week it stays in the theater, then that's just, we are talking about compounding on the snacks, all the concessions, all that stuff. So if we're talking about an 8 to 10 week run, and let's say 2 of them we know only going to be in December, imagine what the first 2 months of the first quarter are going to look like. There's going to be a lot of excitement when the box office numbers start coming out. People are going to start getting amped about the theaters. I really truly believe that when they see how well it's doing, I think it will.
Honey Horse is asking, why do stocks have high volatility before earnings? So I here's my layman's terminology of explaining IV on these stocks, especially as they get close to earnings, when no one really knows exactly what's going to happen, especially if you're looking at options. The way I explain it to a rank beginner is the market maker. This is not really what is happening, but in a sense, it's what's happening. Some of it is due to demand on those options, but I kind of explain it as the market maker is padding the option prices, because it's either going to go, there's a high probability it could go way up or way down. And if they're selling options, be it puts or calls, the market maker, if they're naked on those, they're going to pad it a little bit. This is how I think of it. So that if there is a big move, their risk is offset a little bit. Now, that's not exactly what's happening, but that's how I want you to think about it.
Good point.
So what happens if you're buying now when it's low, you're eliminating a lot of that IV. If you wait till closer to earnings, the options actually start getting pricier for the same option, and you need a bigger move to overcome that IV. You need a bigger move in the underlying stock, up or down, depending if you have puts or calls.
T, do you mind if I pull this question up from Clark? Clark's saying, I heard Citadel is signing up with FDIC later this month. Is it possible Citadel would never have to cover since they would have an infinite supply? Is FDIC an infinite money supply? No, right? They won't cover. They're not going to approve you if you made some ridiculous over-leveraged play that anyone with half a brain would say, this wasn't very smart. Would they? FDIC would try to tell them to go screw, wouldn't they?
So almost every major institution is on that list, and who was it? Citadel recently got added to it, and what they're doing is I've tweeted about this months ago and showed you an example of other companies, other institutions, how they advertise this to their big clients. Like, we're a one-stop shop. We can provide you stocks, options, equities, what have you. You can do it all right through us. And this is just the next evolutionary step of them being able to be a one-stop shop. I don't think it has anything to do. Sorry, it might be heresy to go against the hopium, but this is not a uncommon thing. And
Jordan
maybe I'll find and retweet that tweet I sent out. What someone said? What?
Jordan says, no one is clamoring to buy a $5 billion in debt and no profits at any price you would want. LOL.
Nobody is clamoring.
I'm interested to see where this is going to turn out in the next 6 months. He said, I think it's to buy a company with $5 billion in debt and no profits at any price you want. Jordan?
Well, I mean,
possible. I don't know. Some people are clamoring though. In the chat right now. We'll start there.
In a bear market, I've said a million times, companies with no earnings, like AMC or GameStop, or high PE ratios, which is many other of these tech companies, in a bear market, on any bad news, these companies are going to be dragged down. So what we need is good news, or good news plus a little bit of market reversal. And it not just 1 or 2 days where the market goes up and then it comes back down. We need an extended period of market reversal so that institutional money starts coming back into the market. And right now, the market conditions are not favoring buying equities in general, period. That is the sad fact. If you hold other stocks, you know what I'm talking about. Everything's just been getting crushed for the last year because thanks to the Fed raising rates. But what will change the story for AMC is getting a profitable quarter. Well, does that mean they're going to be able to pay off $5 billion in debt? Of course not. If they pulled a penny of profit in Q4, that is meaningless in terms of paying off $5 billion in debt. It would take them a decade of doing that to even start making a dent. But I don't think AMC is thinking, let's just get to break even or make a penny and we'll be good. They are looking like, how do we become the dominant player in this industry? And they need to do more. They need to focus on more ways to raise revenue. We need more movies coming out, more good movies. And we need the streaming services to take a bit of a hit, which they have been. And we need no new COVID. The China situation has me a little concerned, but we need no new COVID. We just need everything to work in our favor. And that $5 billion in debt, it's going to take them years and years and years probably to pay it off. But that's what they have APE for. And we've talked about this before, Mass. We've talked about this before. Like, I think that Adam Aron would love to see a squeeze because he can unload a bunch of APE at much higher prices than a $2.40 or $1.20 and pay off that debt. Did you freeze up on me? The way that I think Massalorian's freezing up. The way the whole thing plays out, though, if I game out AMC improving their financials every quarter, if they get to a place where enough good movies are coming out and they start making positive earnings, that starts wrecking the short thesis, little by little, taking bricks out of their foundation, and the price starts moving up on both AMC and APE. That gives Adam Aron the ability, as the price is moving up, to sell more APE, and you'll get another announcement that, hey, we paid off another $200 million in debt. Whatever. I don't know how fast they're going to do it, and I certainly hope he's not selling at $1.20. His average before the last quarter was around $2.40.
Talking about Adam Aron selling APE.
Yeah, I hope he's not selling it at this price. There's no rush. There's no rush for him to sell. He's got plenty of money to last through next year. Plenty of cash. I think they'll do it when
Sooner Patriot says hello from West Texas. Hello, Sooner Patriot. How you doing? Yeah, I hope so too. Seriously contemplating that right now.
And so all that long speech about fundamentals, that's kind of like this is my worst case timeline scenario. Like if FTX doesn't crash everything and a hedge fund goes bankrupt because of lack of collateral, or FTX takes down a hedge fund, or the markets don't crash and that causes a squeeze. You guys know all the scenarios, right? There are multiple possible scenarios that could kick off a short squeeze in anything. Hey, if those happen, fantastic. If I wake up one day and it's mooning, fucking fantastic. But in the meantime, I've got to have my, why am I still in this play? If all of that doesn't happen, do I still want to be in this play? For me, looking at the positivity and the things moving in the right direction for AMC, yes, I still want to be in this play. Even if there's no next week short squeeze catalyst, I still want to be in it. That's me. I'm just sharing my thoughts. This is not any advice to you guys. But I'm more patient than the average bear.
Gus in the chat says the theatrical window needs to be longer than 12 days. Agreed, Gus. 100%. But look how long they kept. It always is going to depend, I think, on how good the movie is, how well it's doing, right? And really, I almost wish they would base the. I wish they would base. They should start. I wish that theaters could start holding a gun to their head so they could say, listen, if your movie really stinks and we only keep in the theater for a week, then we're keeping a higher percentage. Make a good movie, make it so it lasts. We can keep it in for 8 weeks, and we won't need as much. You know what I mean? Like, I just almost wish that they had a way to hold them hostage to produce good material, but there's no way we can force them to do that.
Someone's asking if there was a buyout offer, say at 25 a share. I'm adding to his comment. If there was a buyout offer from anybody to buy out AMC, would the shorts have to cover? They might have to cover. Same conversation I had with MMTLP and Twitter, but they might have to cover. But you don't generally see stocks go beyond the offer price. Almost every time I see a buyout, it immediately jumps up to the offer price as long as the offer is pretty solid. Twitter, had a lot of wavering because of the Elon lawsuit uncertainty. But usually what they do is they peg right at the offer price and then they just freeze right there until the sale is done. So I don't expect, I just can't think of a relevant example of where a company got bought out and you saw the stock moon 500, 1,000%. I can't think of an example.
Andrew says, I think we've all been patient enough. I was patient until the stuff started happening with APE. The flat out criminal.
Did you see that 4 million shares
Tell me
traded?
if I'm wrong, Tony. Do you agree with? Yeah.
Go ahead. What?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, when you see listen, Andrew, I'm with you, man. I feel like I've been patient enough too. And I haven't even made as many videos some of these guys have. I don't know how much more patient we can. I get it. But I mean, I can't go back to 70. I can't go back to June 3rd, right? So at this point now, has my patience worn thin? Absolutely. Do I want out of this play? Absolutely. I want out of this play so bad. But I still, as long as the community is still together, as long as we know that we are owning the majority of the float, as long as all things the movie and that revenue's coming in, and the Adam is still with us, I'm gonna let the thing play out. I'm gonna finish it. You know what I mean? Like I can't see myself walking away at this point now. It's just, and I know the patience is thin. I get it. But there's still a very good chance that there is a ton of money behind this stock, and we just need the right catalyst to push it to where it needs to go. That's it. It's no. I could actually use a drink.
G Immortal says you're toasted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Toasted. Nice. G Immortal says, I don't agree with your opinion, Tony, that Adam Aron is not selling APE at this low price. I have no idea what he's doing, G Immortal. If I alluded that I know what he's doing, please forgive me. I think I said, I hope he's not selling it at this low price. Last quarter, when we looked at how much AMC made, I did the math, and he was selling at an average of about $240 a share, which is higher than I expected, and less shares were sold than I expected. So that made me actually feel better that he's not selling at this price. And I hope that he's not, but I do not know what he's doing. We'll know the next time they release a 8K or a 10Q.
Yeah. We'll see it. Yep. James, good evening tonight. How are you? Welcome from Ohio. Let's see. I'm trying to find someone who's not making fun. Ellie, here we go. Here's a nice one. Ellie, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I think we are close for so many possible catalysts out there. I've seen a lot of people saying that, right? A lot of people seem to think we're very close to a run. And look, I understand that. I get that. But I think you guys know where I stand. I've never backed down from this since June 3rd. Until I see $72 again, I will not be excited, honestly, because that was not the pinnacle, and we were just scratching the surface that day. I mean, we were just scratching the surface. God. All right. Don't get me worked up. I think people throw that in. Ellie doesn't do that. Some other people might. Let's see. Mike says, I think the AMC community is dying slow. There is still interest for sure, but no does. So, Mike, okay, that's your opinion. I think we've lost a lot of people, definitely 100%. But I think we gain every day. I know we gain people every day. More people come on and buy, and more people find out what's going on, what's been going on. And for every person that we lose, I have a feeling that we gain one.
We lose people along the way because we lose people along the way because people are putting out clickbait videos and dates, to be blunt, and they should stop doing that.
And that's killed us. It's hurt us a lot. Sorry, proud man.
Keep on. These fucking YouTubers are rug pulling the people that we need in this play with unrealistic expectations. And everyone gets mad at me for saying, be patient, understand the fundamentals, understand that this company is leagues better now than it was in January or June last time.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, we're talking about
it's never been in a better position.
No. We have holdings in a gold mine right now with gold in it. Okay. We didn't have that. Yeah, I mean, a painful death though. I said, I take time back and do that. And I just did that a couple of days ago, right? Just to take a look back, look at the community overall, look at what the sentiment is, look at the hater channels. What are people saying in their comment section? Look at the shield channels. What are people saying in their section? I've been checking this heartbeat and checking the pulse on this thing for a long time. This play is far from dead, far from dead. That thought has not even crossed my mind. It's not really even a matter of will for me. It's when. When is it going to all those things come back together again and we get that perfect scenario to pump? And it's just a matter of pumping enough and holding enough to get the price to go. I just don't know what it's going to take. But at this point now, I don't know.
I went and reviewed I think I talked about this on a recent live stream in one of the evenings, the Thomas Petterfee video on CNBC, where he was talking about, what happened in the GameStop squeeze and how it almost crashed the entire system. And he, as I went back and reviewed that, because I haven't watched it in 18 months, he reviewed a lot of the things that I talk about. It was high short interest. You remember how high the short interest was in GameStop, over 100%.
140.
There was the catalyst of Ryan Cohen coming on board. There was relentless buying pressure because of those two things. And then on top of that, as much as, we don't push options, but I do think that having a loaded options chain is a key factor in getting a momentous squeeze going. There was 50 million-ish shares, 50 million-ish shares of GameStop, another 70 million short, and then I think another 70 million or so, maybe 100 million in the options chain, that if people, that was a potential risk, that if people exercise those, they were going to have to come up with those shares too. So you add all those things together. All we need is good news for AMC. The company's far from dead. It's bringing in billions of dollars in revenue, but they need to get profitable. You need some good news to get people excited, new blood coming in this play. And ideally, I'd like to see a freezing interest rate environment where some big institutions put money back into the stock market. You get those things happening, and then you get the FOMO people starting to buy options. I could see a scenario where this thing could squeeze again. And that's not counting any other catalysts like FTX, the unknowns, right?
Leave everything else out of it, right? Leave everything of it that we're not even discussing right now. That's just with those things alone gives me enough belief to hold on to my position right now. That's all. I mean, if none of those things were out there that I see, like, okay, maybe it's up, right, and go home. But
if we had quarter after quarter where we're getting less and less revenue, now that's a different scenario, but we're not in that. We're not in that scenario. We're getting closer and closer to break even every fucking quarter.
And listen, all of these pump and dumps that have been going on since Redbox way back when, RVCN, whatever, and all of them now on with no help back, no news. There's no catalyst bringing them back from the dead. AMC is on the rise, especially in the short term right now. We're not, 10 years down the road, let's have another conversation, right? But for right now, the plans are big for the end of this year and all of next year. We have big releases. Now, hopefully this whole thing with Disney, this shakeup is going to cause things to go more into a friendly direction towards the fan base. I hope it does. I hope it means more releases. I hope it means more revenue and more money. Till then, I will continue to support AMC and hold my position. And that's it, And if I can make some money on the side in between, so be it. But other than that, the best is yet to come still, I think.
People get mad at me, Mass, on Twitter. You're pushing a narrative. You're telling people to buy AMC. I'm never telling people to buy anything. I'm certainly not pushing a narrative. I'm talking about why I own the stock and the positive things that I'm looking at. And I talk about the negative things too. Half the people hate me because I talk about the positive, and the other half hate me because I dare to talk about the negative. So I'm certainly no narrative pusher, but I like the stock, and I think that it could become a good recovery play. And there's always a chance, the way the short interest is loaded up and the amount of people interested in this play, that you could get on some unknown catalyst another squeeze very easily. Look at the high cost to borrow. Look at the lack of available shares to short. I feel like it's primed, especially now, better than it's been in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone said, Nick asked, what do I think about days to cover? I don't care about days to cover, whoever asked that question, because days to cover is relative to the average volume. It's relative to the average volume. And if it starts squeezing, the volume will be so high in one day they could cover in 2 hours. So if it's at 6 days to cover right now, it's irrelevant in my analysis because the volume's low.
All right, I got to ask this in the questions because I saw something earlier today. Somebody was talking about, let me make sure I get this correct. So someone said that because of FTX and the corruption that was behind it, that there was something about someone had been hiding AMC shares in FTX, and that something to that effect, and that FTX that FTX was going to be the beginning of a collapse, and in that collapse, that the smaller institutions that are way over leveraged, short on AMC, would have to cover. That FTX is directly linked to that. Have you heard anything about that?
There's a lot of speculation about the tokenized AMC shares. I'm guessing that's what that comment was relative to, right?
But again, not something you can short, right?
I don't know how you can. You can take a short position on a tokenized stock, but I don't know how that affects the equity, especially since, as far as we know, they weren't even actually buying the stock on these tokenized securities. I think they were just doing it naked.
They weren't buying anything.
So
except sunscreen and
I'm following all of that stuff, and while I hope that maybe somebody will get caught off guard when I go look at Etherscan and look at the trading of those tokens, and none's happened for like 580 days, I just like, it's not really that interesting to me. How many people do you hear showing? How many people do you see making videos showing you the active trading history of those tokens?
Yeah.
Because from what I've seen, they haven't been traded in almost 2 years. So I don't know. I mean, are they actively manipulating the stock when they haven't touched it in 2 years? I don't know. Doesn't seem likely to me, but I try not to get excited about stuff that's not like screaming at me, and that's just not screaming. Is it possible? Yeah, anything's possible. I don't claim to be a tokenized stock expert by any stretch, but I have been looking into it for weeks.
I remember before the summer when me and you did a live stream and we played some of Kevin O'Leary's interview there. I think me and you talked about it minutes ago, and that he heard rumors out there that was way over left. Did we talk about this in the live
stream? Might have been him. What if it was him?
Do you think he was talking about FTX now, looking back?
I don't think that he knew. Yeah, I don't think he knew that it was FTX. I think he was thinking it was someone else. But
okay,
no, because he's too in bed with them. Why would he hint that? I think he was either oblivious or hoping to just cover it up.
Listen, if anybody watched this guy, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, in the last couple months, you would know this was a giant Ponzi scheme. Just listen to his explanation of how the company is run and how they make money. It was very clear that his girlfriend's fund manager by any means, right? This was not a big revelation when it happened. I mean, I'm not saying me and you picked up on this isn't really our field, right? We're not huge into crypto. We're not huge into that field. I wish we had looked into it more, but we were focused on other things. But and we weren't able to draw any evidence that SC or GME or any kind of nonsense was going on between FTX or some of the meme stocks, right? So there was no reason for us to go digging through this kid. Hopefully someday after the MOAS, this will be the journalism I can go do, or Tony can go, stories we can go run down. But so focused on.
I've always liked Kevin O'Leary, but
this just slides right by.
I've always liked Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, and he seems to have good investment sense, but I'm just a little bit shocked and scratching my head and doubting his honesty a little bit in this whole FTX thing. And I don't know if you guys are following BitBoy on Twitter, but he is just dragging him through the coals.
Is it?
Yes. Saying he's going to expose, a bunch of stuff about Kevin. hiding FTX, what he knows about it and his involvement.
Kevin O'Leary or Kevin Meet Kevin?
Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get to Mullen, Son of Thunder. We're going to get to Mullen.
Damn it, Jeff. How's my fucking mic not good? What is the problem? Can you tell me if this sounds any better? Does that sound any better?
For that one sentence, it did, yeah.
What about right now? How does that sound?
Good.
Just in
Good.
The chat. I'm just wondering if it's very choppy. God, I just fixed it. Choppy? Fuck. Could be my mic
MC
jack.
Prosperity. Yeah, Kevin O'Leary's wife killed somebody with a boat and then got off. As far as I know, got off scot-free.
Can you hear me now? Hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
It's weird. Some people say that I can hear me fine. Some people say I sound drunk, and some people say it's choppy. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know, T. I'm thinking it might have something to do with my Scarlet. I have my Scarlet little thing down here.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what on that would help with choppiness.
It's only bad every here and there. It's not like every sentence you're saying is breaking up. I wouldn't worry about it.
I try to make the cord a lot shorter so that it was as long as the distance to go, but not helping. Okay. Let's see. Tony, what are your thoughts on Lou getting people stuck on other plays?
I mean, most of the plays that he's called out, Massalorian and I were talking about this on the phone earlier. The plays that he's called out, when he called them out, if you jumped on it at that point, they were good plays. The problem that he did was when it reached an apex, he kept on saying it was going to keep going. And hey, maybe they will, right? But when I see, I just analyze his plays like I do any momentum play. When I see the price turn and it start coming down and the volume dropping off, that is indicative to me that the play is winding down. Especially, as I said, I give AMC and GameStop a little bit of leeway because they're bringing in massive amounts of revenue. But they're a turnaround play. But like GTII is a non-revenue company. CSM, I haven't looked as deep into their financials, but many of these plays, what was that other one? RMVA, a fraction of a penny stock. Like, it's just, he doesn't know when to say, get out. And I heard him tonight. Next week, we're going to be looking at another OTC play. You know what I'm hearing in my brain? Him and his buddies are loading up on it now, and they'll tell you guys about it next week after they've established their position so that you can run it up for them. That's what I hear. Sorry. So once they've got in cheap and established a big position, he'll tell you about it. You guys will run it up 500, 600%. He'll get out. He'll keep on talking about it for a few weeks for the YouTube income. And then he'll blame you for sticking into play too long.
Yeah. Yeah. For 20 years, literally because he was someone was investigating. Now, probably someone hasn't called you. Maybe someone who bought GTII, let's say a month ago, at $5 a share or $6 a share. And on that certain particular day, he was saying it was going over $100. And here we are 5 weeks later and it hasn't yet. I could very easily see a young kid or a new investor or this is his only. I could phone up the SEC and saying, hey, this guy just lost me every penny I have. And since he's told me to buy this stock, it went from $5 to $1 instead of 100. And what should I do? I wonder. Shocked. That's for
Many
sure.
of his plays have been really good calls. Like he called GTII, I think, when it was under a buck, and it ran to $9 and change. That's a fucking fantastic play. Why he still felt the need, and the people that got trapped in at $8.50, $9, those are the ones that I feel bad for.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I've been saying is the higher it goes, the more willing I'm for my own trading style just to say, well, I missed that one because I didn't pull the trigger on day one. It's already ran up too much. I missed it. That's fine. There'll be another one next week because I don't want to buy something at the top and then bag hold it. And he does a great job of convincing people to stay in plays while it's
God damn. How do you see that chart keep going like that and continue to hold, thinking that a coin's coming one week, an NFT, then the CEO is going to announcement they counted all the shares? I mean, it's just.
And Massalorian, I know the haters are right now saying, but the haters right now are saying, but you guys are talking about AMC and it's going down. Yes. AMC ran up to a squeeze price and it's coming back down to a more fair valuation. Meanwhile, the company is far better off now and about to potentially get a profitable quarter in the next couple quarters. So I have no problem telling you why I like AMC. It's not a no revenue company.
And don't forget, the entire market is coming down. It's not just AMC or GME. The entire market has been driven down. In some parts, 80, 90 on some of these tech plays. So we are not alone. Got to.
Six Sun says, how many shares are institutions holding currently? I'm assuming he's talking about AMC and APE. The amount of 13Fs filed on APE was minuscule. And I actually found something when I was trying to figure out why a couple weeks ago. There's actually a list. I didn't know about this. There's a list of required tickers that you have to file a 13F for, disclosing institutional ownership. APE is not on that list. So that could be one reason why they're not filing 13Fs on APE. But I would assume, and the last time I looked on AMC, it was around the 30-ish% institutional and mutual fund ownership of AMC. I would assume APE is in that range or maybe less. I almost think it might be less because they're not required. Institutions are not required to hold APE for index funds, right? Like all those Vanguard AMC shares, they don't need to hold APE. So if they got a distribution of tens of millions, hundreds of millions of shares of APE, that could be part of the reason why you're seeing all this extended downward momentum. They don't have to hold it to be in an index. So institutions could just be offloading that. I don't know what the institutional ownership of APE is. But I do know, I do think that there's a good possibility that retail may own the vast majority of it, and institutions might almost at this point own none. That's just a guess. I don't know. Would you, if you were an institution, would you hold APE as it's bleeding out if you weren't required to hold it? Well, by required, I mean all these index funds. BlackRock has index funds. Vanguard has index funds. They have to hold AMC. That's I'm racking my brain every day trying to figure out why does APE keep on dropping. I look for logical reasons. One logical reason would be institutions aren't required to hold it, and they very well could be selling hundreds of millions of shares, just offloading it. And the other logical reason is the amount of well-followed YouTubers that shit-talked APE, ruining people's perspective on it. Number 3, Adam Aron is not doing a good job about talking about APE being essentially equivalent to AMC. They're all reported on the same financials. You're not going to avoid dilution by selling APE and buying AMC. And eventually, APE could be converted to AMC, and they all have a vote. So for me, it's still, in my investment strategy, smarter to buy APE. That's what I've been doing. I don't know what institutions are doing. MC Prosperity says, Bat Stoner never blinked. There's a lot of good videos, MC, about... didn't Matt used to be an actor, Matt Stoner? There's a lot of good videos you can watch about actors not blinking. And I have a tendency when I'm filming a video for you guys, those 5-minute videos. Sometimes when I record them and I watch my replay before when I'm editing, I'm blinking every 0.5 seconds and I have to redo it because it drives me nuts. And then sometimes I'm concentrating on not blinking. He may be concentrating on not blinking. It is a tactic that you develop as an actor. And a lot of serious lines are delivered and have more impact if you're not blinking. I don't know if that's what he's doing, if he's consciously doing it, but I would guess that he's consciously trying not to blink.
Who are we talking about?
Matt Stoner. But I have noticed that he doesn't blink.
All right. Doge. Says the answer for APE is crime. The charts are criminal. Telling people to sell, but do agree AA needs to do something, to say something.
He should.
Someone say that AA needs to say something.
I said he should. He needs to talk up why it is equivalent to AMC. He needs to talk it up. He needs to go on there and say, I don't understand why APE is getting sold off. That it is essentially the same thing. You're not going to avoid dilution. Both of them have a vote. They're all reported on the exact same financials when it goes to calculate earnings per share. I don't get it. I do not get this negativity towards APE.
Double says if the community keeps finding corruption and it keeps getting out more and more, I think they will need to cover it before the corruption gets too loud. Thoughts? So let's get back to that a little bit, T. What we were talking about earlier about the protest. At what point do you think that? Do you think at any point the politicians are going to get it across to them, or at some point they're going to figure out that changes need to be made as far as the market goes for retail investors? What do you think it's going to take?
I have very little faith in our current roster of politicians. I am curious to see what these rules are that Gary Gensler is proposing that are going to shake up payment for order flow.
Yeah,
I think there's so much big money being funneled to politicians that they are going to be incentivized by big money not to change anything, unfortunately. Politicians.
Yeah.
I have a hard time counting on them. Unless we put people in office that have our agenda.
Yeah. Just kind of elaborating it, if we were to be able to find someone in Congress who would be willing to take up our cause, I think that would be something that would be worth promoting and someone worth getting behind. Someone that
We need
would,
a bunch of them. We need more than just one, unfortunately.
well, we need to find a part of Congress that holds power. And right now it seems like there's two. There is the Freedom Caucus in the Republicans, and there's a Progressive Caucus in the Democrats, right? Those would probably be your two that you would think, depending on what party you belong to, will be willing to take up that cause, right? And get some kind of legislation. I mean, let's just start with properly funding the SEC with the money that could have gone to Ukraine. What if we spent a couple billion in that, properly funding the SEC to start cracking down and regulating more, not on cryptocurrency, so that they can introduce a digital currency, but more on the market itself and how the playing field is, right? So I think you're looking at two very small groups of people that you would have to direct your influence at, but that hold great power as far as who's speaker. There's a number of things, right, that they can hold back their vote for and ask for something in return. Last year, when it came to force the vote with the progressives, if you remember, they wanted universal health care, or else they wanted the progressives not to vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. And all the progressives caved. They all voted for her. And
Yep.
they all ran on the policy of saying, we're not going to vote for Nancy Pelosi unless she gives us universal health care. We'll take away her speakership. And when push came to shove, they all caved.
Yep.
So finding the group, no matter what side of the aisle it is on, if we can find the group and pinpoint a few, I think that's a worthy cause to try to put some time and effort into. No, don't you think?
I think that the most likely way that we get meaningful change is if there is another massive crash, a la 2008, the real estate crash. If there were a crash in the market, maybe FTX is the beginning of the end of, for these people that are doing all these corrupted plays. If that can be enough to tip it into crashing, and then truly expose if there is massive amounts of synthetics or derivatives positions, then there will be a clamoring that they can't ignore for regulatory change. But right now, there's just not enough clamoring. Not enough people follow the stock market, and not enough people have been hurt just yet.
You know what, it sucks too, because we have well, first of all, there's been a lot of people running around, especially last year, saying that the SEC had our back, knowing full goddamn well that they didn't. But they kept pushing that narrative. Right, my Ginsler. Yeah. I mean,
he's never been on our side.
No.
Kicking and screaming. He's going to fix it, kicking and screaming and fighting until he's forced to.
This guy, SBF, who just lost billions of dollars, is going to be speaking at a conference next weekend for the New York Times with Janet Yellen and a couple other people. I mean, think of how insane this is. So here we are fighting on the ground, right, with our own money, out here on YouTube at midnight East Coast time, talking with a bunch of other retail investors who have had it with the market and had it with the way that these overseers have been watching this and doing nothing about it this whole time. I mean, they know we're out here talking about it. Charles Gasparino's out there tweeting about it. Liz Clayman's talking about it. People know what's going on. This is not as of a secret as everyone thinks it is. But they have found these loopholes which have allowed them to keep continuing to kick this can down the road. And it comes and goes. The waves of FOMO come and go. Not so much as they did, but we know how it goes, right? Good news comes and we get runs, and I think we're going to be heading into that time soon again. The whole problem is we're still not fixing the root problem, the root cause of the problem of how we got here in the first place, right? Underreported short interest, rehypothecation of shares. The list goes on and on, whatever you want to use, right? But to truly change the market, we're not going to be able to do that without legislation. But
we
maybe
need
we need to squeeze money to do that. Maybe
simple things that we must insist on. If you want to do a protest, and this goes back to that Thomas Petterfee video, he said it a year and a half ago. And if I was to protest one thing, it would be, this is very easy. We need more frequent, maybe even daily required short interest disclosure. Not this every twice a month, 2 weeks delayed bullshit. Like, if you want to provide more transparency to retail, why do longs have to report their positions, but shorts don't?
Yeah, right.
Utter bullshit. It's to protect corruption. That would be one thing that is easy to request and would be easy to fix. Oh, but that will give away some of their competitive advantage. Well, so does disclosing their long positions. But we're playing with very outdated information.
Yeah,
and we don't know who the bad guys are.
Yeah,
because it's not reported at a company and institution level. It's just all aggregated and given to us a month late or 2 weeks late. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
That would be one easy thing for them to fix.
Yeah, quickly too. Council Murray, thank you. Council Murray was just saying he doesn't think politicians will help. And look what just happened with student loan fix. Look what happened, Council Murray. Look what happened just with the all the federal marijuana crimes. I mean,
that too.
Came out and said that knowing damn well that no one was going to get out because no one's just sitting in a federal prison right now for only a marijuana offense. I mean, it's just utter BS, you know? It's just to string you along. Same thing with Roe versus Wade. They've been saying since Obama, since Bill Clinton, they've been saying they're going to codify Wade, and they haven't done it. It's just a way to get your vote. Go ahead, T.
Can we do a momentary segue on Mullen, because someone was asking about that, and that was the last little retail stock I wanted to talk about that's had some recent news.
Sure.
And I know there's a lot of Mullen holders, and I've been saying for a few weeks as it's been coming down that I was going to wait till 25. I've never bought Mullen that I recall. Someone's going to fact Tony's lying. He bought Mullen 2 years ago. Maybe I don't recall ever owning Mullen, but I have been saying for the past 2, 3, 4 weeks that I would consider buying it around 25 cents. And it was getting closer and closer and closer to the point where I was 1 day away from having to buy it at 25 cents. And the day before that happened, have you guys seen these filings?
No.
Couple things happened. There's going to be I'm going to summarize the filings for you and why I'm now bailing on my 25 cent plan to buy Mullen. I'm no longer buying it at 25 cents because David Mishery created a preferred share and bought a few of them for $25,000 that give him 1.3 billion shares of voting power, if I'm not mistaken. Enough to sway the vote. And at the same time in these filings, there's going to be a shareholder meeting on December 23rd. They are going to propose a reverse split, which they need to do.
I bet.
They need to do.
Yep.
And they are going to propose raising more dilution up to 5 billion shares. And people are going to say the same thing they told me months ago. That's never going to get approved. I was saying, last time that they had to approve it. They need to raise more money.
They need to raise more money.
And good for them that they did approve it, because, that gave them, even though it sucks for retail, it gave them ability to keep selling shares and raise money. But David Mishery is going to swing the vote. There's going to be dilution to 5 billion shares. They're going to do a reverse split. Okay. I think all that's going to happen. at the end of December. And then also in that paperwork, guess what happens? After a reverse split, his preferred shares are going to go away and he's going to be reimbursed his $25,000. It's like such a fucking setup. It's so obvious what he's doing. He did a temporary end run to be able to swing the vote that he has to get at the end of December to extend the life of his company. He's extending the life of his company, what a CEO should do.
What a CEO should be doing.
But at the expense of retail. And because of all of that coming,
retail,
I'm kind of like looking at 10 to 11 cents is where I'd be willing to consider buying Mullen now. And man, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that, but stay tuned over the next 23, 24, 25 days. Let's see what happens. That's where I'm thinking that it's headed, unless there's some good news. They have the IGO deal in Ireland. They've got the Bollinger deal. But really, if you read their documents, they say in black and white, they expect the bulk of their revenue to come from their SUVs, like the Mullen 5. And that is not really scheduled to begin production till late 2023 with deliveries in 2024. So I'm sticking by what I said. They will get a little bit of revenue maybe in 2023, but not enough to have a meaningful impact on the company. They need to get to 2024. They need to survive that long. So Mullen's not dead, but it's pretty shitty play for retail right now. That being said, like many retail stocks, any bit of good news, you can get a little pump on it. So I want to buy it as cheap as I can to hold it for the next news cycle pump. If I buy Mullen at 10 cents, I'll sell it at 20 or 30 or 50 when you get a news pump.
There you go.
But I'm kind of looking at Mullen like it's a 2024 play. So just be patient with it if you're holding it. And just my opinion, guys, just from reading documents.
That's all it is? Just an opinion?
I mean, there are people that completely disagree with what I'm saying. You know, I saw someone post today. They're excited about being able to sell Mullen for $23 soon. I'm like, based on what?
Okay.
Based on what?
Yeah, no, seriously, based on what? Yep, you're right. Based on what? I was gonna say, Reflect said something about those loan payments being, those. Yeah, I was not definitely not commenting on the legality. Don't take me wrong, bro. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying that's what they ran on. Jason says can't figure out who's more hammered. I wish I was hammered. I sound hammered.
Yeah,
I must sound
me too.
hammered.
I'm sipping on a little Jack Daniels and ice over here, but I'm far from hammered.
I had 4 root beers and 2 ginger ales, so I'm 6 deep. I'm feeling it.
Those root beers will do you in.
I think it's more my indica pen. Let's see. Yeah, I need it. This is Thanksgiving week is always a rough week for me, so I always need to chill this week and try and go to a different place. Let's see. Or Mullen says 25 a month versus split price always goes down afterwards. Absolutely, 100%.
That's always, what even worries me. Like that worries me if I buy Mullen at 10 cents and then they do a 1 for 25 reverse split or 1 for 50. We've seen it in many stocks. The majority of them, after they do a reverse split, what happens? It just trails back down. Look at Sundial. So yeah, I worry about even buying Mullen at 10 cents, but I'm not going to buy thousands and thousands of dollars of it. I'm going to take a little position, and it'll be one of many very speculative plays that I have waiting for retail momentum on good news.
Hey, just a little inside info, just local area around here, just something I've noticed. Cresco Labs, which is a believe they're out of Massachusetts, but and I think they might be on a ticker too. But I've noticed they're about to legalize marijuana here on December 1st, and open a bunch of shops. But all the Southern Massachusetts shops are carrying a lot of Cresco product, a lot of it, and just talking to different people, it seems to be like everyone's going looking for Cresco products. So just something I heard, and heard from multiple people actually at different places about Cresco, whatever that means. But just putting it out there.
Do you want to take Doug's question? Doug plays guitar.
Doug Carr says, do you think the AMC squeeze MOS thesis has been disproven? If we're talking MOS, Doug, hundreds of thousands of dollars a share, yes, I think that's been disproven. Do I still think it can squeeze? Absolutely, 1,000%.
That is not a word we like to
Tony?
use on these channels. MOAS. I think there was definitely a squeeze in June of last year, and I think that there is a potential for another squeeze. But I've laid out many times what the criteria for that in my book needs to be: high short interest, high cost to borrow, some sort of good news catalyst, and that all of those bring in the buying pressure. People see an opportunity to get a squeeze going and then start loading up the options chain at that point, adding fuel to the fire. So no, I don't think that the potential for another squeeze, to what price, I don't know. But I think that there is definitely the company's making incremental improvements every quarter, and there is definitely potential for another squeeze. To what price, I don't know.
Oh my God! I mean, I don't know. I don't think squeeze has ever been doubted from the start. I think MOAS was really the thing that everyone probably was the one thing that not everyone agreed on was MOAS, right? The $1 million a share thing. I mean, me and you fought that hard when it came out. When Al from Boston dropped that about AMC to $1 million a share, and try to tear that argument apart, right? Because just sounded ludicrous to us. And based off the Excel spreadsheets that he had, there weren't actually physical numbers backing those. There was no actual documentation backing those numbers. They're all speculative numbers. So
someone did create a spreadsheet.
That's true.
With a Pareto chart. But yes, it was true. Speculative.
Very, very. D, good as well. Stopping by. So glad. OS is the great white buffalo, says your wife's boyfriend. Does that mean when you're being taken to the spirit lands? Or what is that? Great white buffalo? I don't know what that is, unfortunately.
What I've always said is have, like I say in every single play, have a reasonable price target. Be careful about listening to pie in the sky price targets, and take your profits out along the way, so that you're not sitting here, if it were to squeeze tomorrow and go to, I don't know, 70, 100, 500, whatever, but you're thinking it's going to 100,000. I am not going to be covering this stock for 5 more years, holding people's hands, telling you how it's going to get to $100,000. Find a price that you're happy with, a profit that you're happy with. You've had a long time to think about it. And let's hope that when it does move up, whatever the catalyst is that moves it, that it is fast and violent, so that we don't have to agonize over it for days and days or weeks, that it's just so obvious. It's so obvious that we just hit that sell button. That's what I'm praying. Because God, man, if it's going to take weeks and I got to listen to people's videos telling you to hold it
on a 13-cent jump.
No. I'm saying if it
Oh.
runs up really, really good, and there's still
Yeah.
people saying hold.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I
yeah.
mean, anything is possible, right? Anything's possible.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm not going to be here for 5 more years if you didn't sell.
Nope. Learned my lesson once about that. Never see a stock go that high again. I mean, I've never seen this one of my personal, single owned shares of a company go that high that fast before, right? Those couple days. So, besides back in January, that's the only time I've seen it before. I hope it goes again.
And that
And
I wouldn't be buying APE right now for the past August, September, October, the past 3 months if I didn't think that these stocks had a chance to run up again. I've already got plenty of AMC, but APE is just so damn cheap that I'm liking buying it at this price. Could it go lower? Yes, it could go lower. Is it going to be diluted more? Yeah, it is. But in the case of a good catalyst and a squeeze, I think I'll be fine buying it at $1.25.
Yeah, right. Because never say never. Then all those folks who said it would never happen come with another excuse. Yep. Doc
Jordan
says
says you
important
didn't sell
rule
in
of
the
playing the
70s.
market. Don't get greedy. Good.
Jordan says you didn't sell in the 70s. Will you sell below that this go around? Jordan, I didn't sell shares, and then after it came down, I was still buying it. I think after it started coming back down, I was buying it at 39, and then all the way down AMC, and then I just stopped buying it when it got so beat down. I was like, well, let me see how low it goes, and I think we're close to that now. AMC. That's why I bought call options, and I have bought call options on the dips over the past year and a half. But the difference, while you were watching Matt Kors buy call options as AMC was moving to 70, I was selling my call options in June, and I made tens of thousands of dollars on call options. So my shares are freebies at this point. I understand not everybody's in that position. But yes, I was hopeful the shares would go higher, but I had already made plenty of money selling call options. That should be the first thing that you're selling in a run-up, in my opinion, because they expire.
Yep, T. That's right. Yep. Hold your shares forever. Andrew says I closed 75% at 1,000. Doug keeps saying that let's be killed us. Ape certainly took a. It definitely did screw us a little bit. I mean, there's no denying that it definitely hurt us, right? I can't get around that. As optimistic as I want to be about the company, because I'm still a shareholder, I still believe in the squeeze and I still buy stock. Ape didn't help in the way we thought it might.
The portion of our value
Call
that
me
got
a shell.
spun in the portion of our value that got spun into Ape, if we say, it got spun out at $8, let's just pick a number, and now it's down almost 90%. Yeah, that hurts. But and even if I say if there was no Ape, would AMC by itself have gone down in this market? Probably so, but not 90% in the last 3 months, like Ape did. But I think that is, this is just my opinion, and the reason I'm still buying Ape and only Ape since August is I think that the market is irrationally undervaluing Ape. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Time will tell.
Well, I think it's still holding half of its value from the split, in my opinion. it's still worth that. I mean, regardless of what the chart's telling you right now, I still think that those shares, those APE shares, are worth what they were when they split. I know it's not what the number says right now, but we'll see. Time will tell. 1796 Patriot asks Tony, "What to do with live streaming anymore? Just because the market's down, just because we haven't had any."
If I was live streaming right now,
tough.
if I was live streaming right now, I'd be asked 1,000 times a day, "What do you think about GTII? What do you think about COSM? What do you think about Mullen?" And people don't want to hear 1,000 times a day what I just went over tonight. No one wants to hear that. So I do it sporadically, and my thoughts on all of those have been very consistent. And I also don't want to be live streaming it. Like I saw Teddy was live streaming COSM and lost $19,000. Like I don't want to be live streaming my trades and make you guys lose money because you're copying what someone on YouTube is doing. It makes me sick to my stomach thinking that someone is going to follow what I'm doing on these plays.
That's tough to watch. Can't believe that happened live too. Shit. You wonder. I mean, depending on how many people jumped in with him on that, I mean, you had a lot of trouble doing that, especially when it's live like that. You know,
Yep.
someone else, if someone went triple that, maybe say put 50, 60,000 in, that happened to them. Be careful. Angelina says, "Why is the market totally selling it off?"
Because of interest rates.
Yeah, Angelina, they just printed $5.5 trillion out of thin air in the last 18 months. That money all went into the market, overinflated it, and now it is coming back out, right? It went and now being funneled up to the 1%. Sunchi says, "Not sure if this is already covered, but when hold on." Sunchi says, "Not sure if this was already covered, but when is going to do what they said they were going to do with APE to help see?" So, with the dividend to us?
You were breaking up. Can you repeat that?
He's waiting. Yeah, so the question from Sunchi says, "Not sure if this was already covered, but they're going to do what they said they were going to do with APE to help T." And I said, meaning beyond just giving us that as a dividend?
I don't know what he said he was going to do. He said it was going to be checkmate.
Yeah, go ahead, T. Go ahead.
That's what I heard him say was APE was the checkmate. And if I'm decoding that based on Adam Aron being very conservative, as someone said in the comments 20 minutes ago, I think for him, checkmate was we are not going bankrupt. We've got almost infinite ability to create APE over the next 5 years, sell it at our leisure, and raise money. So I think that was his checkmate. Like shorts, you are not going to bankrupt this company. What other promises he made? I don't know. I didn't hear him make any promises. So I don't know any other way to answer that question. I'm just trying to think about it. Like, what could he have possibly meant with checkmate? It clearly did not divulge any share count. That didn't happen. It didn't create any massive short covering. That didn't happen. So what was he thinking? Nope. The only logical answer I come back with is bankruptcy is off the table.
Right. All those bullets, right? Ken says, "That's why I hate tweets. I feel like he is leading on the community, and he should know by now what we want." Yeah, Ken, I agree with you 100%. If he is doing that on purpose, if he is purposely out there tweeting just to incite retail into getting whipped up into a frenzy, yeah, I agree with you on that. He knows what we want. He knows what's going on. He also has a job to do. He has legal responsibilities to the company, the shareholders, the board. He's got a lot of people looking to him, right? So and at him. So what he says is important and needs to be taken with a grain of salt, but he also isn't stupid. So all that factors into these tweets, I think. I mean, you got to look at it from every single direction, right? Right, T?
He needs retail to stay engaged in the play for when the good news comes out. You know, he doesn't want to have a good news and nobody's in the play anymore. He's got to have retail and institutions buying it. But I think depending on what the news is or what the catalyst is, those people are still there. Justin says that I have a combined cost average of $38. Give me some hope. So, Justin, I can only tell you what I said earlier in this play. Every quarter since 2020 is getting better and better. We're getting closer and closer to where we were pre-pandemic. There's going to be a lot more good movies coming out in 2023. Streaming services are suffering. We got Cineworld or whatever the fuck the other competitor is going through bankruptcy. The company is not out of the woods, but it is very well positioned and way better than it was when you bought in at $38. So we need to have things line up to create. It's going to require a squeeze. I don't think the fundamental value of AMC right now is $38, unfortunately. But could it get above that? Could it get above 70? Could it get above 100 in a squeeze? Sure. If you have all the things that I talked about that I'm looking for, high short interest, high cost to borrow, lack of available shares, we've got all of those. We're lacking a good news catalyst. We're lacking institutional money feeling free to come into this play. And we're lacking a loaded up options chain. But those things will fix when you get a good news catalyst. Look at these silly stocks like GTII running up 1,000% when it's making zero revenue. Very easy for a company like AMC, a legit company, to run up and get you out from under that position. But it's going to require, I think, that set of criteria. That's my set of criteria. Not everybody agrees with that. And I'm okay with that. We all want the same end goal. We have different ways mapped out of how we might potentially get there. And just to throw you a banger, we never know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, the timeline for Highcroft is a little bit longer, but Highcroft could be another, if they find more gold and silver and when they get that new milling operation built, that could be another catalyst that will directly impact the earnings per share of AMC if Highcroft's price starts moving up. So we got popcorn, retail popcorn. There's just so many moving pieces that give me still some hope in this play that it's moving in the right direction. So I'm willing to be patient. Not everybody is. That's cool. You do your own thing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
All this stuff they have in the title. Whatever all that stuff is, pumps for you.
Whose comment?
Whose
comment was that?
Guitar says, Tony, each... Shoot. Justin Lefevre, maybe? Nope. Nope, Justin, that wasn't you. My bad. Hold on. I don't know. But yeah, we talk about everything on here. Whatever people ask us about, and we know what the topics before we put the thumbnail up. Obvious during the day.
I put a lot of different
What
tickers in.
tickers people are going to be asking?
I put a lot of different tickers in my video title. I didn't exactly copy yours, but I think we've gone through in the past 2 hours. We've gone through all of them at this point.
I think so too. Yeah. So if they're in the title, we definitely covered them. Just go back and you should be able to catch it on the replay. Pamela, good evening tonight, darling. How are you?
Pam the trader.
The
What's
man.
up, Pam?
Mask, can you please read my message to Tony? Yes, I was looking for it, the man. I was. Someone else asked me to read it. See if you see that, T. Do you see a question for you from the man? Yeah, wait, here it is. Wait, maybe not. No, maybe not. That's not it. The man. The man. I see. Thank you. I don't see any questions from the man. Are you?
I don't see him in either chat.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's not Dan Man, is it?
No, I think it's Dumb Man. DAMAN. Oh, here it is. He said it's cool, mass. Maybe on that. The man, if I answered it, if not, you can do. Yeah, why says clips would get drunk. Let's see. See Prometheus in the chat. COSM seems to be a complete rug pull. Be careful, folks, says Olan Smith. Did you think that earlier, Tony, that COSM was a rug pull?
I mean, COSM held 40 cents today. I mean, of all the ones that are currently in play, that one I think has the highest potential to keep running because it's so cheap still. But they do have dilution. They have a dilution filing and they have warrants, which are going to be additional dilution. So I don't know how high it could go, but if GTII could go from 60 cents to $9, I don't know why, if enough people got behind COSM, that it couldn't run. But I'm not going to make videos saying that it will.
All right, listen, Tony, it's 12:22 here. I'm going to go for about 8 more minutes. My audio is choppier. I can see it coming up. I understand. I'm not putting shit product out. So I'm gonna go till 12:30. If you want to stay on, that's fine. But I got to figure out what's going on with this audio. Fix the lighting. This is just not acceptable for me.
That's fine. I promised Scarlett I wouldn't be on for 4 hours tonight. So.
Okay. Of course. Bye, and we're ready to close up shop. Pam, has nothing to do with you, Don. It's just I'm lagging, and that's just a shit product, and I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't put up with it, so I get it. I'm gonna try to fix it. I apologize, guys. Yeah, it makes me sound slurred, makes me sound choppy, drunk. I got it. When rug pull from rebound rally, says 1796. I don't know. I wouldn't really call this a rebound rally. Would you call it that, Tony? Say it's a rebound rally?
Let me pull up the SPY here. Hang on one second. There were some Fed headlines that they're thinking about slowing down the interest rate hike.
I saw that. I did see that. That would be a pump, right? That would certainly pump the market, for sure. What would they say? They might drop from 75 to 50.
I believe that's correct. Yeah, I've been following these other squeeze plays so closely. I haven't been paying as much attention to the Fed news. I mean, we
Okay.
are on a. If we look back at the low on October 12th of the SPY 348, we're at 402. That is a pretty good run. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that it is over, but I still fear some bad economic news, China, Russia, Ukraine, China, COVID, or FTX rug pulling the market. Yes, that is not a risk that you should ignore.
For sure.
For those reasons, that is why I'm not spending a lot of time trying to buy SPY calls and puts, because if I don't have a high degree of confidence, it's just gambling.
Right on, Floyd. Right on, Floyd. XX Wolverine says, I actually want to know, what do you think of Boston's secret connect telling him the play is over? Do you think secret? Well, first of all, his phone was hacked, right? So we know there has been interference run through Al from Boston. His phone was hacked. So what can we trust actually coming from that side of the aisle, Wolverine? I don't know. It's touch and go right now, I think, with Al from Boston as far as reliability. Has your mind on him changed at all, or?
I don't watch clickbait channels, so I couldn't really comment on it. I haven't seen any of his videos.
Sorry, buddy. Okay. XX Green, that's the best I can go with that. As far as I can take that without T. Yeah, I don't know. No. Al came in with a story. It's been running along. And he went to funds, came back. Now he's getting inside scoops. It's something. I mean, he's just the Lou from all I look at him as. So, I just, look, I hope the guy's right. I hope he knows something big is coming that we don't know about, that maybe one of his Republican friends or whoever knows, and something's happening. God bless him. I hope it does. But I trust community.
I trust my own DD, and I kind of stop right there.
Trust 6. There you go.
Dan Man says, "Am I done on APE?" I don't know what you mean by "am I done." My next buy on APE, my last buy on APE was around this price, like $1.27 ish. My next one, God forbid it hit $1, I'll buy some more at $1. And I did buy AMC January $8 calls today.
Alan said, Al from Boston, 2 scoops of fucking bullshit. I'll say it. I mean, who's running trying to hack Al? What do you know you look like? I have a lineup. Come on. Let's see. I trust you. See, Pam does trust me. Oh, Pam. That's why I love you, Pam. XX Movie Sins got more APE around 115. Look, when we get this pull, if we get this push, forget it. It's going to take off, and I think it'll be right back to where we were when we split. That's what I think. I think it will run right back. Then that will be our new technical. We'll be looking at was where did it end up right when we split. Honestly, I could be wrong, but what?
Keith is asking again. We talked about this 15 minutes ago. Why have I not been live streaming to give advice on some of these tickers? I talk about them every day in the Discord, Keith. I put some due diligence sporadically, every day, every other day on Twitter and in the community tab of YouTube if I'm not live streaming. But to be honest, I don't want to be pump and dumping these momentum plays because they're so iffy and you need to get in them on the first day. GTII at $1 was a great play. COSM at 16 cents was a great play. After that, if you weren't in on the first day, it's I can't in good conscience come and talk about it because I've done my own research on them, and the things that people are telling you on Twitter and YouTube and Reddit are in my research not correct. And
How about
nobody wants
ass backwards?
nobody wants to hear
backwards.
that. Nobody wants to hear that, Keith. I mean, I get everybody is so fucking emotional that if you try and be the fact-based guy, they want to tear you down. So, until there's a clamoring for more fact-based live streaming, why should I subject myself to people making videos about me saying I'm bearish on Hycroft or I'm a paid shill for Hycroft? It's just bullshit that people want to believe in hopium and everybody rallies behind them and throws the fact guy under the bus. So I don't do this for money. I do it to help people, but nobody seems to want that help. So until there's more clamoring for it, I spend my day doing research and talking to people in the Discord, the people that want that information.
And I can vouch for Tony. I'm not even in his Discord, but I know people who are and who have said that's where you want to go. Get into the Discord. Fact. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like all this shit talking either. I think it's I don't think right now until we get some things that we can talk about. Listen, I think during Christmas time and when Avatar comes out and stuff, we're gonna have a lot of things to talk about. There'll be a lot of days. There'll be some nice price runs. I think when news comes out, I'm telling you, there could be a couple weeks in a row we see some nice pumps, and we might see some nice numbers come back from Christmas receipts and a lot of retail sales across the board. If the Fed decides to only go 50, 50 points instead of 75, watch out. Watch out. And you always have the other case scenario that liquidity gets wiped out. We have a major problem. There's a crash, and we get a squeeze on everyone trying to cover out their shorts, right? Over leveraged small people. So I know it sucks, guys, but patience is the key right now. As much as it hurts me to say.
Vinny Chase, I love that name, Vinny Chase. Have you ever encountered Joe Rogan out in public while being there in Austin? Yeah, I've actually hung out one night with Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, and the guy that created the Fleshlight is also from Austin. That was a pretty wild night. But the embarrassing thing was I didn't recognize Joe Rogan because
Really?
Yeah, because I've still pictured him at that point. This was years ago, but I still pictured him at that point as the Fear Factor, thinner, more full hair guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was talking to him and I was like, "What are you doing tonight?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to the comedy club." I was like, "Oh, I think Joe Rogan's playing there tonight." He's like, "Dude, I am Joe Rogan." I was like, "Oh."
That's funny.
One of my most
That's pretty
embarrassing
funny.
life moments right there.
That's
I don't know if he remembers that, but
Jones has been in Austin his whole life, right? Well, for a long time, right?
for a
He
long
went to
time,
UT, I think.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know his whole life story, but
I've heard Rogan talking about going out in Austin to have steaks with Jones. Did you see him at a steakhouse? I'm just curious.
no, out downtown.
Okay. Oh, Clark's a good point right here. I know Urban Ape.
The Rico, the Fleshlight dude, I forget his name, but he had a couple of really, really hot chicks with him.
Where's Clark? He said he learned something tonight about right here, I got it. About time days to cover.
I thought 6 days to cover meant that's what it's
Yeah,
going
see
to
it?
be. 6 days to cover. I don't know if I talked about
so
days to cover.
You've explained this to me before, Tony. Break this down. You really do a good job of it. Exactly what does days to cover mean?
Oh, yeah.
You've explained this to me.
We did talk about it. So days to
Yep.
cover, when you see that metric, that is based on a look back volume. And I don't know, different websites might have a different period that they look back 30 days, 90 days. But when you look back at the volume and you look at the short interest, you just do calculation based on that daily volume. How many days, if that volume stayed the same going forward, how many days would it take them to cover? But as you know, in all these squeezes on any stock, what happens when they start running? You get massive. You could have 1 billion shares of AMC trade in a day. And they could cover theoretically in a few hours and drive the price up. But yeah, that's why I don't care about days to cover. I see people, exclamation point, they're fucked. 6 days to cover. I'm like, if it starts running, there'll be enough volume they could cover it in half a day. If they wanted to. Doesn't mean that they will. They might try and hang on and hope that it comes down, but they could. I saw one other question I wanted to talk about.
All right. I'm going to pull up one more question, all right, T?
Yeah, I'm looking for one other one that I saw in the chat. Oh, yeah, Justin saying if AMC runs to 100, what would you expect APE to be in that scenario? So, Justin, difficult to answer because we don't have a long history on APE. So I'm gonna punt and say that if AMC starts running, because they are on the same financials, I would expect APE to run a similar percent from whatever their starting point is. I don't know if that will be true, but that's what I would expect.
There you go. I got Harry tonight on YouTube. Tulsi Gabbard was a guest. Many of us asked, and she denounced any the WEF and Terry Parrott. Thank you for spreading that news to me. I'll be watching as soon as we get off tonight. Appreciate you, man. Let's see. All right. Jeff says, I lost a lot of respect for AA when his rich ass was eating all. You know what? But Pantheon made a good point the other night, Jeff B. And I'm going to close with this. The fact that one thing we were complaining about was him chomping away in the phone, and that's the least of our worries. I'll take it. All right, guys. We're going to wrap this up right now. I want to say thank you to all of the moderators who came on tonight. I saw Rands was in the chat. Adrian, Liz Clayman, Pam the Trader. Did I miss anyone? I think there's one more person I'm missing.
Angelina. Did you say Angelina?
Angelina? Yes. No, I didn't, Angelina. I know. I need to make sure I have a list of yours too, Tony. So make sure I get all your mods too. Because I only have mine usually covered. I got to make sure. Prometheus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to the folks who came out to the Apes Giving barbecue lunch today. And we did raise a toast of Miller Lite in the bottle to fuck the hedgies. So it was nice meeting you guys. Those of you that came out here in Central Texas or were visiting. There are some pictures posted in the community tab, I think, for sure on Twitter. There's pictures posted. A couple couldn't make it because of flu's going around here. We have shitty weather. People were driving from Houston and the coast that didn't want to drive in the rain. Scarlett ended up not being able to. They were on reduced staff at her hospital today, so she couldn't get a long enough lunch break to come. But we had a good time. We had some good food and
That's
great
awesome,
conversation. Man. Thanks to everybody on Mass's channel and mine that helped keep the bills paid. And thanks to all of you for tuning in to the most hated channels covering AMC because we talk facts, good and bad. We love you. We appreciate your support. And yeah, I mean, I really, truly do hope to get back to doing some live streams, but I'm very hesitant to do it while I do not want to spend my day answering 8 hours of questions on GTII and COSM. So I talk about them frequently in the Discord, occasionally on Twitter in the community tab. So subscribe to those. Keep an eye on the community tab and keep an eye on Twitter. I put thoughts out there and get called to shill a lot, but I'm not going to stop. Not going to stop sharing my due diligence.
Don't ever. And I just want to say a special shout out. Good night to Nana Ape. Guys, good night. Have a great night. Love y'all. Take care.
We love you.
We'll talk to you soon.